In Disney's The Haunted Mansion, the third room of the game is called Conservatory. The main goal of the level is to reach the top section of the library and flip the switch to turn on the lights. To reach this switch, you must use haunted books as platforms to progress through the level, eventually reaching the switch to turn the lights on. But what if I told you in the speedrun, this level was a completely different story? What if I told you, in a game that all these years later doesn't have any major game-breaking glitches or skips? What made this level in particular so susceptible to glitches? Why is this level in particular so different from the rest of the game? Well, in this video I'm going to be explaining it to you. How Conservatory Room in the Haunted Mansion was completely destroyed. So before we get into this, I'm gonna have to explain this level in more detail. You first start by activating a piano on the opposite side of the room. From there, music starts playing, and a path of books appears. You use them as steps, eventually getting to one of 3 library mezzanes? I don't know, don't question it. On this library mezzane, you activate a cello, which makes the books change course to the opposite library mezzane. Then, after you get to the other side, you activate a violin, which once again changes the course of the books, allowing you to go to the final library mezzane, effectively ending the level. Now that you have everything you need to know, let's get into this. So to start, we're going to have to go back to 2016. The first skip in Conservatory was done by a runner known as Haxxi. It's on the final section of the level, from the second library mezzane to the third one. He found out that if you jump at a specific point on the books, you can hit an invisible checkpoint that skips a small section of the level, saving around 2 to 3 seconds. While not big at the time, it was eventually realized that this invisible checkpoint could be hit much earlier, as early as interacting with the violin. This would cut out almost half of the final section. Unfortunately, however, the invisible checkpoint would only spawn after you interacted with the violin, so this meant you couldn't activate it right away and skip the entire level. But it was still a massive time save for around a 2-minute maximum level. This is what the current run would look like for the rest of the full game run's history. Full game runs, that is. But there would be several discoveries for Conservatory over the next couple of years which would give it its reputation. Multiple discoveries that would spread to time saves across several different levels aside from Conservatory. The next discovery would be on February 6, 2018. Where Haxxi would discover arguably one of the biggest skips currently in the Haunted Mansion. The Conservatory launch was revealed in a video on February 6, 2018, titled Conservatory Shenanigans. This video will demonstrate one of the key mechanics that makes Conservatory alone as broken as it is. The haunted books in Conservatory are a little, Bro, you really just did that to me, you really did. You just did that to me, you just did that to me, really, you just did that to me. Don't do it again, don't do it twice in a row, don't do it. I'm done. Yeah, no, the books in Conservatory are a complete mess. They're infamous for being extremely buggy, most of the time, in the unfun, run-killing sort of way. But in this clip, Haxxi hit one of the books at the start of the level in just the right way, and it ended up in him getting flung across the map. This fling in particular would be the second major skip in Conservatory. While it's not exactly known why the fling happens, there are some theories. The biggest one right now is how the books are placed in the first place. The books are called from shelves across the map to make a platform for Zeke. As he moves along the path, the books behind him and the books in front of him whip across the room from shelves to give the effect the books are making a path for Zeke. This effect works pretty well, majority of the time. There's a severe problem, though, with this effect, that makes these books as broken as they are. These books always have collision, even as they're flying across the room. If Zeke hits them while they carry the speed, the game will do one of 2 things depending on on a couple of variables. The first being what happens 99% of the time. The book moves too fast and Zeke just falls straight through them. This happens because majority of the time the books move too fast for the game to process Zeke as standing on it. Since now he's below the top of the platform, the game assumes so and pushes him down, making the runner have to restart the entire section he was on, losing time. But the second, much less likely possibility is why this conservatory skip works. The book travels at an insanely fast speed and hits Zeke in just the right way, which transfers the book's vertical speed to Zeke, essentially teleporting him to the top of the level. From there, you can hit the second library meeee and skip around half the level. This would be a massive skip if viable to do in runs, but unfortunately it just wasn't doable. The amount of precision required for this wasn't something you could consistently do in runs. Heck, there are only 2 known people who have ever done this trick, and one used TAS. So really, Haxxi is the only person who have ever performed this trick. I've tried for hours personally, but have never been able to replicate this RTA. It's just too finicky to do consistently. So the trick has been banished to basically being a TAS only trick to this day. It might be doable in individual level runs in the future as the setup is being developed, but only time will tell for this one. So what's left? What left is there to optimize in a now minute-long level? Well, on June 28th, 2022, a runner by the name of Trevor.Cranberry would post a video showcasing the first instance of one of the biggest movement glitches in Haunted Mansion. This glitch goes by the name of Extended Jump. Extended Jump is a relatively simple glitch. It's done by taking damage from a ghost while running off a ledge, and for some reason or another, for a split second, you just don't fall downwards, allowing you to jump a bit farther than usual. While overall it's a relatively useless trick, Trevor.Cranberry saw potential for another conservatory skip. But there was a problem. What would damage Zeke to make this boost possible? Well, 2 sets of ghost spawns could potentially be used for the skip. The first is after activating the piano at the start of the level. This wasn't going to be that useful, unfortunately, because when they spawn there, there's no potential locations where an extended jump would do anything. While stalling ghosts to get farther in the level is possible, it's incredibly difficult and not viable to do in runs, unfortunately. But the second spot had potential. It was after activating the cello on the first library meeee that a single ghost would spawn in. This ghost worked perfectly. Now, for the final question, where could you perform this extended jump? Well, there's 2 spots. You guessed it. Both are extended jumps that lead directly to the final switch. Both of these jumps would save massive amounts of time. Along with that, they're both viable for RTA runs. So, later that day, Trevor.Cranberry proved both jumps were possible. Something to note was that the conservatory skip is considered much easier when done in the second library meeee with the violin. If failed, however, it loses a tremendous amount of time. But also at the same hand, since it's only 2 minutes into the run, resetting the trick if failed isn't that bad, and is what happens most of the time. And, well, there you have it. These tricks are what give Conservatory a reputation. A reputation for having one of the most interesting rooms in the Haunted Mansion. A reputation for being a glitch hunter's haven. A reputation for having one of the most broken rooms in the entire game. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to show you a TAS of Conservatory that demonstrate what years of optimization, routing, and glitch hunting, and hours upon hours of effort give you. I hope you enjoy it. Thanks for watching. As per usual, if you have any constructive criticism, I'd love to hear it. I'm trying to improve my speaking, editing, and writing skills, so it'd be greatly appreciated. See you next Wednesday, 3 p.m. EST.